Hey y'all, Cory here from ENSEMBLE. In this video, we're going to define what is social entrepreneurship. This video is part one of our three-part series on Social Entrepreneurship 101. So whether you're new to social entrepreneurship or a social entrepreneur yourself, I think that there's something worthwhile that you can get from this series where we'll be discussing, as mentioned, what is social entrepreneurship, examples of social entrepreneurship in practice, and finally, how to find your business idea that will change the world. Let's get started first with a definition. What is social entrepreneurship? We can break social entrepreneurship down into two parts, social and entrepreneurship. The social element refers to some sort of positive social or environmental impact. The entrepreneurship element, and this coming from Merriam-Webster, an entrepreneur is one who organizes, manages, and assumes the risk of a business or enterprise. An enterprise, by definition, is a project or undertaking. This, I think, is interesting to pay attention to for the sake that the term entrepreneur is typically only associated with business in the for-profit sector. But as we can see from this definition, it's actually quite inclusive. The definition is broad for who an entrepreneur is or what an entrepreneur does. But bringing these two together, the social and the entrepreneur, we have our definition. Social entrepreneurship is the undertaking of a business or enterprise for the purpose of positive social or environmental impact. It's quickly worth noting, though, it's difficult to address any particular issue in complete isolation, right? Many social issues are clearly environmental and vice versa. However, let's further discuss here for the sake of addressing why defining social entrepreneurship is important in the first place. The social is exclusive. Entrepreneurship is inclusive. At least to me, I don't think that this is what you'd first expect if you were to take a closer look at this term as we're doing here, but I've come to find it most important. The social component is exclusive for the fact that it is what really separates who is a social entrepreneur and who isn't. This isn't important for the sake of being able to point out and call out people who are or are not social entrepreneurs. It's not about creating some sort of exclusive club. But it's important for us to understand these definitions in the broader context of purpose-driven, sustainable, and ethical business because many of these terms are being adopted more into the mainstream and thrown around really quite loosely, to be honest. And it's not without an impact. Because of the nature of business, advertising, and marketing, it's difficult to tell whether a brand is taking a stand for marketing's sake or for mission. Is it truly advocacy or just advertising? Like Anheuser-Busch walking back their bold stance of inclusivity after sales took a 17% hit, or research from the New Climate Institute that found 25 companies, Walmart, Amazon, and Nestle among them, all of whom have made climate pledges, are misleading consumers by using accounting practices that make their environmental goals relatively meaningless. We could go on example after example, but the point here is that the perception of sustainability can be just as effective as actually being sustainable. Likewise, the perception of doing good, being a social entrepreneur, can be just as effective as actually doing good, as it relates to advancing business interests anyways. In each case, there's one path that requires far less legwork, but still achieves the perk of looking good. This is why I believe making the business case for why businesses should pursue sustainability and the business case for why entrepreneurs should adopt a social entrepreneurial approach isn't really appropriate, and is so easily co-opted for purely profit-seeking intent. There are businesses and business people who see consumer, generational, and worldly trends and respond to them wholeheartedly and authentically. That's for sure. The trends or data such as 78% of US consumers, for example, say that a sustainable lifestyle is important to them, or 60% of US consumers say they'd pay more for a product with sustainable packaging. Or when employees experience purpose at work, those companies achieve returns that are 6.9% higher on average than the stock market. Believe it or not, there are also businesses who are observing these same trends in this same data and responding to it with branding and campaigns meant to exploit those trends and facts for profit. I think this speaks to why the European Union is proposing regulations for green claims to better protect consumers. Researchers, as part of the European Commission, recently suggested that 53% of green claims on products or services are found to be vague, misleading, or unfounded. So it's this that underscores the importance of defining social entrepreneurship. Because those who adopt a social or environmental mission disingenuously or take advantage of a business opportunity, they undermine the entire movement of business being used legitimately as a means to make people better off. It's not about welcoming more people into the purpose-driven fold or conscious capitalism fold. It's not about rejecting people either. It's about solving a problem, specifically the problem that business has been and continues to be disproportionately exploitative and existential crisis level destructive. And that needs to change. And so anybody or any brand, which from the European Commission's research suggests it's 1 in 2 brands, that is looking to extract benefit from the movement and growth in consciousness around the impacts of business and the impacts that business can have, is not serving to solve that problem. They are undermining it. I think my friend Madeline Shaw puts this rather well. Madeline is the co-founder of Isle, one of the very first companies in the world to bring modern reusable period products to the market, and the founder of Nestworks, a family-friendly shared workspace, and she's the author of a really wonderful book, The Greater Good, Social Entrepreneurship for Everyday People Who Want to Change the World.
I see my definition as being very expansive and very democratic. And so just for starters, to me, well, let's break it down. So the word entrepreneur is a very long word with lots of vowels. It's derived from the French verb to undertake. So to me, by definition, an entrepreneur is somebody who undertakes something, an action, an initiative. It can be for-profit, it can be non-profit. It doesn't need to be incorporated at all, actually. It could just be a project or something that you love. But the point is you're taking action. And the social part, which precedes the word entrepreneur, importantly, it comes first, right? So social is kind of shorthand for some form of positive social or environmental impact. That can be anything, honestly, whatever matters to the entrepreneur. But the point is that it's what motivates and inspires. It's the central purpose of why the undertaking is being undertaken. Like, it's why you do what you do, right? It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. So as opposed to traditional notions, in a traditional business sense, people are looking to make a profit or capture a certain market segment or, do something like that. But it's not necessarily coming from a place of a primary desire or motivation to make the world a better place in some way.
My conclusion from what Madeline added for us there, the most important component of social entrepreneurship, the social component, is about why you are doing the thing you're doing. Social entrepreneurship is less so exactly about what you do and what it looks like, and more so about why you're doing it. Nonprofit, for-profit, community project even, the structure doesn't exactly matter. What matters most is the intent. Are you creating something, a project or undertaking, meant to address some sort of social or environmental problem? Or is your intent to leverage that purpose for a profit? Of course, this doesn't make for a cut and clear definition. What business or business person could be qualified as a social entrepreneur or social entrepreneurial business model is certainly up for debate. But stick with me though, as in the next video, part 2 of this 3-part series, we'll share examples of social entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurship put into practice and put this definition to the test. All right, y'all, that's a wrap. If you want to get an inside look at Grow Ensemble, my interviews, what I'm reading, and much more, be sure to check out my newsletter, The Better World Weekly, where together we explore the art of living and working sustainably at the intersection of business, nature, and philosophy. Go to growensemble.com/newsletter to get the next one in your inbox.